What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment-related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Quantum Error is a new game coming out, guys, which I'm actually really intrigued by after seeing the gameplay, or I should say really more so a reveal trailer that came out. And all in all, guys, from the little that we saw from the trailer, I wanted to go ahead and break down, though, all of the things that we know so far about Quantum Error as one of the more intriguing titles up and coming. So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, that was written by James O'Connor of GameSpot, Quantum Error is an upsetting looking horror game coming to PS5 and PS4 about a firefighter call-out gone wrong. Quantum Error, the upcoming PS5 horror game from developer Team Kill, who did Kings of Lorne: The Fall of Ibris, has received a new gameplay video during the Future Games show. The footage shows some of the creepy environments and monsters players will be facing when the game launches at an unannounced date. So what I will say about what we saw, guys, from the footage at least, this game gives you kind of similar vibes to that of Left 4 Dead, as well as some of the other horror movies that are out. It is very intriguing, though. You know, there's not a lot that we really heard as far as from the gameplay itself. It's pretty much just that first person view, and as you're going through. Now, of course, it's all game footage, but all in all, guys, very intriguing to say the least when as you're looking through the course of that gameplay trailer that was shown at the Future Games show. Quantum Error is a cosmic horror FPS, and the game's official site has revealed some more details about it. You'll be playing as Captain Jacob Thomas, a firefighter who is sent with his partner, Shane Costa, and a crew to the Monad Quantum Research Facility where something has gone wrong. And once you're there, you'll discover that an entity of some kind has attacked, and the fire that is spreading through the facility is a sign of something far more grim. While the goal is initially to save as many people as possible from the fire, it soon gets more complicated than that. So what I will say is this, guys, this is a game that most likely is going to be coming out here probably relatively soon. I would say probably this year, seeing as how it's supposed to be coming out on the PS5 as well as the PS4. I mean, very well may come out after the PS5 launches, or at a later time, sometime maybe in 2021. But with that, guys, plenty of games have been unveiled for PlayStation 5 thanks to the console's reveal event. If you're hungry for more horror, it's also worth checking out Resident Evil Village, which is coming in 2021, which is absolutely true. But nonetheless, guys, Quantum Error here, guys, the things that we know, this is what I'm excited about this game and this title in particular, and very intrigued by it, is that we know bits and pieces of the story. We know bits and pieces of, obviously, the gameplay from what we've seen, the reveal trailers and such, but there's still a lot of mystery here. They're not really revealing a whole lot, which is very nice. We're going to go into this thing being able to really experience everything throughout the course of the game. And I think that it actually looks to be something that could have a lot of mystery, a lot of psychological potential elements to it as well. And it seems that there's a lot of variety here as far as the different creatures that you're going up against. We saw in the trailer that it seems that there's going to be bosses as well, most likely. It's hard to be able to confirm that, but it seems like there's probably going to be bosses throughout the course of the story. There may very well be puzzles. Seems like that you're pretty much, kind of going to be contained to close corridors and such, which I think is going to make some very interesting elements as well. Now, as far as other details, guys, whether we're going to have multiplayer elements, whether we're going to have co-op elements, I would say simply because we are going to be getting, obviously, Captain Jacob Thomas and his partner, Shane Costa, those two very well you might be able to play both of them as a playable character, or if you want to play co-op, which would be kind of interesting going throughout the course of the story. But like I said, they have like this on a tight lid right now, guys, as far as not really letting, a lot of information come out as of yet. I mean, we don't even know when the release date is as of yet either. But as far as the things that we do know, I would say that this is a very intriguing game, to say the least, that's going to be coming on PS5 as well as the PS4. And the other thing is, guys, is that if you have not already seen what they've revealed so far about this game so far, I would say you definitely should check it out, because it'll give you a little bit more information on kind of what to expect from the gameplay and things of that nature, but you're not going to really find out a heck of a lot from the story itself, because they just really haven't announced too much or revealed too much about it as of yet. But with that, guys, I want to know from all of you, though, and pass it on to you guys to let me know what you guys think about Quantum Error. Do you think this is going to be a pretty fun game? Do you guys think this could be like one of the next up-and-coming horror games in the genre? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Quantum Error content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel a number of times, guys, about Fallout and the future of this franchise in particular, and you guys can check out all of that content here on the YouTube channel about Fallout, the history of Fallout, as well as the future of Fallout and the potential of Fallout 5, which is what all of us are really clamoring for and hoping that this is a true continuation of this franchise. Well, in this segment of the show, guys, I want to talk about the top 5 things that we want out of Fallout 5. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be talking about my own opinion here. I know some of you will agree with some of the opinions that I have in the top 5 things that I want, but some of you may not. And if you don't, that's fine. I would just love to hear what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So coming in at number 1, guys, Fallout 5. I think it's really going to be important that we have new characters, new enemies, new locations, and just new environments to explore in general. So all in all, guys, having a game that I think is, within the same universe, of course, as Fallout, and probably a direct continuation from Fallout 4 into Fallout 5 would probably be preferable to most people, but I just want to see some existing characters, some existing enemies, some existing locations that we've already experienced in the past in Fallout. But I also want to see some new characters that are introduced into the fray, as well as enemies, as well as environments and different locations that you can explore. I think it's really important to keep it fresh, guys, to keep it kind of different. I mean, you think of any really great franchise out there, they're consistently evolving with time. And I'm not just talking about a graphic standpoint or from a gameplay perspective. I'm talking more so from just the things that are within the story, having ways in which that we can connect with these characters further, as well as, having new enemies to go up against, having more to see and do within the world and the environments around you, being able to traverse the world in different ways that the other games haven't done yet. And I think a lot of those things will be capable here in Fallout 5. So that's number 1. Getting into number 2, guys, I want them to expand upon the multiplayer elements. So what I'd like to see, guys, obviously Fallout 76, lots of backlash there with that game. But what I will say is this: I like the concept of them having a multiplayer aspect to this franchise. Now, we've seen the success, of course, of Elder Scrolls Online. They've been consistently updating Elder Scrolls Online, which I think that when the next Elder Scrolls game comes out, that being Elder Scrolls 6, I believe that they will continue Elder Scrolls Online into that game and kind of expand upon that. What I'd like to see is Fallout 76, as far as like the concept of it, with the multiplayer elements brought into Fallout 5. Now, obviously, I always talk about having a full package deal, guys, having, a full campaign, having, multiplayer modes as well as co-op modes to really justify the $60 price tag. And obviously we want the story. We want a great story here with Fallout 5, but I think it's really important that after you're done with the story, you have more things to do within the universe, that being like multiplayer elements and co-op elements as well. And so I think they need to expand upon it, though, here, moving into Fallout 5. They know what they did right, they know what they did wrong, and now they know what they need to do different moving forward, kind of doing multiplayer from the perspective of within the Fallout universe. And so, like I said, I would like to see multiplayer elements brought into Fallout 5. I don't want it just to be a part of, just Fallout 76 or something. I'd like there to be multiplayer in Fallout 5, and maybe they call it Fallout Online or something along those lines. And this is just another way that you can connect with the universe. That gives you more ways that you're able to, play with your friends, play with other people out there, being able to go ahead and, have different ways in different earnable items and customizable items would be really cool as well within the multiplayer elements of the game, as well as co-op as well. So I think multiplayer is a must here with Fallout 5. Coming in at number 3, guys, I think there needs to be more crafting abilities. I think there also needs to be just more ways you can traverse the world, and we kind of alluded to that earlier, along the journey. So we all know that Fallout typically is a pretty long campaign, which is a great thing, right? That definitely helps justify paying the price tag that they put on these games. But what I will say is that I think that if there isn't going to be multiplayer and no co-op modes, and this would also just be a great bonus even if those were included in Fallout 5, just having more ways, like I said, that we're able to, when it comes to crafting, kind of going the next step up with crafting, going the next step with along the journey as you're traveling within this wasteland, being able to have other things to do. Side missions and things of that nature are one thing, but also just having other things that you're able to do. Kind of walking, if that's what you choose to do, from one location to the next. Having a lot of things that you can, see and things that you can do, interact with along the way, whether those are collectibles, whether those are ways that you learn more about the Fallout universe. I think that's a really important thing as well. And then, guys, coming in at number 4 for me is, and this might be controversial to a lot of you, but I think it's really important that there are free-to-play elements here within Fallout 5. Now, I'm not saying like the story necessarily. This would be where the multiplayer would come in, where the multiplayer is like a free-to-play, style or mentality here that Bethesda has moving into Fallout 5. And I'll tell you why. The Fallout universe has done incredibly well, guys, when we're talking from building a really nice-sized fan base here. Now, Fallout 76, obviously, was a turn in the wrong direction, but typically speaking, guys, every, franchise out there along the entire landscape of gaming has had at least usually one game or at least that has been kind of a step in the wrong direction for a franchise. And so what I'm getting at here is that having a way in which more and more people will be able to connect and play this game, Fallout 5, having free to play is going to get more eyeballs, more people playing it and trying it out, at least trying it. Because some people aren't going to want to pay the money to play, Fallout 5. Some people are going to want to try maybe just the multiplayer elements, and maybe that gets them to kind of dip their feet in the water, and then maybe they'll buy the full game. It's hard to say, but you look at all the games out there, and you see a good portion of them now that are big AAA titles are going free to play, or at least have elements of their game that is free to play, like Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, Valorant, all these different games, guys, that are coming out free to play, or at least have parts of them, elements of them that are free to play. I think that, personally, Bethesda, it would be kind of like their, almost like their saving grace, or, their kudos to the community for kind of putting up with the stuff that they kind of, put out there in Fallout 76. And that leads me to the next thing, guys. Coming in at number 5, we as a whole, I think that we can probably agree on this. Maybe some of you won't, but I think that this is a game that we don't want any microtransactions. And look, the reason why I'm going to say no microtransactions in this game is something that I want is because, typically speaking, guys, microtransactions have never bothered me that much. I never really got kind of, sucked into, buying microtransactions. I've always liked the concept of earning things, earning items, and whether they're cosmetic items, whatever it might be, skins on your guns, or being able to customize your character and things of that nature. I just like to earn those things. I never was really big on paying to do those things. And so the reason why I'm saying, though, that I believe that this is a game that doesn't need microtransactions, because Bethesda in the past now with Fallout 76 and other titles have had issues really, not delivering on some of the, microtransactions, as well as like, some of the pre-purchase, items that you could, if you pre-ordered the game and such. They just had a lot of problems. And so, in my opinion, I think that this would be a real kudos to the community, showing that they still really care about Fallout, not from just a standpoint of making, another game, but also that they realized that they did something wrong in Fallout 76 in a number of different, instances, and we could go on the list of all the things that went wrong with Fallout 76 from a marketing standpoint to just all of those things, microtransactions and everything. So what I'm getting at here is that having no microtransactions, I think it would really help it as a company. I think it would be a big move for them to really get that, favor back from the community. And I think it's really important that there just aren't microtransactions. I don't think it's necessary. Now, the one way that I would say that it would be okay to have microtransactions would be if the multiplayer, that being Fallout Online or whatever they decided to call it, would be free to play. If it's free to play, then okay, you've justified having microtransactions. But if it's not free to play, then I don't think that they should have microtransactions whatsoever. And look, guys, we could go over the whole list of, reasons why there should be microtransactions, reasons why there shouldn't be. I'm just saying, for Bethesda as a company and where they are currently as a company, I believe that they shouldn't have microtransactions in Fallout 5. And personally, guys, I know there's a lot of you out there that believe that, that games, just in general, haven't really gone up with inflation. They've stayed $60 for years at this point, haven't gone up to $65 or $70 or $80 over time, which is typically what would happen. Like if you look at the price of movie tickets, they go up over time. And video games haven't done that, so they need to find new ways to make money. Microtransactions, of course, being introduced. And so I totally understand that. I'm just saying, guys, from that perspective of, Bethesda as a company needs to really kind of show us some good faith here with Fallout 5. And that's just my opinion, guys. And I'd love to hear yours in the comment section below. These are my top 5 things that I would like to see in Fallout 5. What are yours? Let me know. And for more Fallout 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. With the recent announcement of a new Hitman game, guys, I thought, Hitman is a franchise that's always intrigued me. It's always been a pretty exciting, just franchise in general. And it's been pretty consistent with having games come out, and it's got a pretty nice sized community. And so I decided, guys, in this segment of the show to talk about Hitman 3 here and talk about everything that we want within this game. And when I say we, guys, mainly, I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion here. And I would love to hear yours, though, in the comment section below. You may agree or disagree. Let's have a real conversation about it. So with that, guys, here's everything that we want in Hitman 3. So I think that we should kind of preface this, guys, with, a little bit of some history here, okay? So Hitman 3, that is now going to be coming out from IO Interactive, is actually really not the third Hitman game in the franchise. It's actually like the 8th in the franchise. And it's kind of getting a little bit convoluted and confusing. And that's one thing, guys, that I really think is going to be incredibly important moving into this game, that we understand where we are as far as the timetable is concerned. Because the third game technically in the franchise was Hitman Contracts. And look, I mean, we're coming off of obviously Hitman and Hitman 2, which was technically Game 6 and Game 7 in the series. And now we got Hitman 3. And this one is supposedly going to feature all missions from all 3 of the original games, I guess, or at least the first, Hitman 1, Hitman 2, which was technically the 6th and 7th game in the series. Like I said, it's getting kind of confusing, guys, to say the least. But nonetheless, what I was saying was that I really enjoy this franchise as a whole, guys. As a stealth-based game that puts the stealth over action, I've really appreciated. And it kind of reminds me in ways of like games like Splinter Cell, and games like that, right? But it kind of has its own flavor, its own twist on the stealth genre. And it's done really well, guys. It's done really well up to this point. So what are the things that we want out of this game? So I'm going to be going into, a number of things here that I want out of Hitman 3, guys. But I think that you got to remember that we don't know everything, right, about this game as of yet. I mean, we know certain things about the storyline, things, different details about the gameplay and things of that nature. I'm just going to give you guys, though, the things that we really want here out of this game as a whole, from just a story perspective to more like detailed things, like other things to do outside of the story, and so on and so forth, and I would love to pass it on to all of you. So at number 1, guys, I want to see, obviously, the continuation here of just Agent 47, which obviously, guys, that's what this is going to be, is a continuation here, and so I'm very excited about that. I'm just glad that it's coming out, it's happening, and we're going to be able to experience this thing. Now, the question is, when exactly is this game going to be coming out? Because I don't believe there's a release date as of yet for this game, but I'm assuming it's going to be coming out later this year. The thing that I'd like, guys, is whether this is going to be a direct continuation from Hitman 2, or if it's going to be kind of its own thing. I would assume it's going to be a direct continuation, but nonetheless, I'm very intrigued by not only where they're going with this story. I kind of want them to surprise me in a number of ways as well with Hitman 3, but I also want there to be, some new characters, some new, environments, new locations that we can explore, as well as some new enemies, which I think is what we're going to be getting. They kind of insinuated in the trailer, guys, that they are kind of going in this direction, that it's still Agent 47, but there were some, things that you could take from that really showed some, new location. It also was kind of showing that there were probably, it was a new threat here, right, to Agent 47. And so I think that what needs to happen is you have some of the old, but you also have some of the new. And when I say old and new, I mean like as far as characters are concerned. The same thing with environments or locations. You have some of the old, some of the new, and then also, enemies. At the end of the day, you want to have new enemies as well as some existing ones as well. And so I think that's really important, guys. The next thing for me is having, a pretty, we've had up to this point, it's a pretty open world. I mean, typically speaking, though, it's more of a semi-open world style. I'd like to see it as a full open world, which I don't know if that's something that we're going to be getting, but I really think that it would be interesting to just almost be able to experience, things that, throughout the course of the story, along the journey, that you're able to explore different areas and see what it's like for Agent 47 to see what it's like for him to be just a normal civilian. The things like when he's not doing his contracts and such. What is that like? Really being able to connect even further with this character, which we've been able to do throughout these games, guys, but I think it would be really an interesting concept, having more side missions, having more other ways in which we can, connect with the franchise, which kind of brings me into the next point of the things that we want, that being multiplayer. Having multiplayer and co-op modes, guys, I think really help with building these franchises to new heights, right? Because typically speaking, after you're done beating even some of the previous Hitman games, you might beat it once or twice. You might play it one time on one difficulty, and then you go back, a second time around, play it on a harder difficulty, and go for all the collectibles or the achievements or trophies or whatever. And then after you're done, what do? Well, you typically would probably go to another game. It's what we do as gamers, guys. However, if you have more to do within that universe, whether that's co-op missions, whether that is multiplayer elements, you're going to come back and continue playing the game. So I think it's really important that they also add that into Hitman 3. And like I said, guys, I'll be giving you guys more updates as we get closer to the release of Hitman 3, without a doubt. Whether or not those are things that are going to happen, it's kind of up in the air, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. But that leads me to the next thing here, guys, is look. I'm not saying that they got to change the gameplay, they have to change the mechanics whatsoever. I think it's really great the way that they have kind of structured this franchise so far. But I would really like there to be even more stealth-based missions here. Now, I know that like in other previous, Hitman games, we've sometimes have had some of these games are more action over stealth. And then you have other games that in the Hitman universe that are more stealth over action. I would personally like, and what I would want, is more stealth over action. We look what happens to a lot of series out there, guys, within the gaming landscape that are one thing, and then they change that thing that they're good at, and it ends up hurting the franchise. Think of like Assassin's Creed. You had a game that was a stealth-based game built on stealth, and then they turned it into a action game, right? So what I'm getting at here is it started off as a stealth game with action elements, and then it kind of evolved into being an action game with stealth elements. Now, luckily for Assassin's Creed, they've been able to continue making games, right? But it has hurt the franchise as a whole. There's been people who have kind of left the series, not really interested to watch further additions to it because of kind of the direction they've gone. And what I hope is with Hitman, they don't make that same mistake. They stick with the stealth over action mentality. So more missions that are stealth, more ways that, Agent 47 is, kind of infiltrating different areas, taking out different targets and such. That's what this is all about. So I hope they kind of stick with that. But those are the main things, guys, that I really want to see here out of this game. And, one other one, guys, that I'm not really saying that it's necessarily a want. I mean, I would love this, but I don't know if they're going to go this direction, would be free to play. Would they make Hitman 3 free to play? I highly doubt it, but I think it would actually get a ton of people, a lot of exposure on the Hitman universe, and a lot of people playing it. Even if it was just elements of it that were free to play, like the multiplayer, which we talked about a little bit earlier in the show. We kind of talked about, Fallout with that franchise moving forward. Could they have elements of it that go free to play? I would love to see the same thing with Hitman 3. Could this be like the multiplayer elements and co-op elements be free to play, and then the story itself is, one set price? It's hard to say, guys. I don't know. That's something that I would love to see, though, at the end of the day. And on top of that, another thing I would love would also be more ways that you can kind of, customize your character, that being Agent 47. I think it'd be really cool to be able to customize him in a number of ways. I'd also like to see him almost get a partner. He goes alone pretty much for the most part, but it'd be interesting to see, where this story could go if they kind of took Hitman 3 and they're saying like, this is going to be the last of the world of the Assassination trilogy, and kind of almost had him, that being Agent 47, pass the torch on to someone else. And he's still there in future games, but it's almost like you start helming a new character. He kind of grooms a new character. They aren't insinuating this whatsoever, guys. This is all purely something that I think would be really an interesting concept. And I definitely plan on making videos about this in the future, so stay tuned for that. But I do think that having other characters, and like I said, with introducing new characters as being one of the things that I would want, I'd almost like to see what it would be like to have him with a partner, at least with some missions, that would also open the door to co-op. So like I said, guys, those are the things that I'd really like to see out of Hitman 3. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys want to see out of Hitman 3. Are they similar to what I want? Are they totally different? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Hitman 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. In this last segment of the show, I wanted to give you guys the 5 games I'm buying in 2020. So a 2020 edition, guys, to the 5 games I'm buying here. And look, guys, at the time of the making of this video, or this segment, I should say, we are currently in July. And so with that, you got to realize that there have been games that have already passed. So what I wanted to do was, obviously I'd planned on making this video earlier in the year, but obviously that wasn't able to happen. Just, got very busy with other videos, guys. So now, at this point, I thought I definitely want to make this video and talk about, even though there's other, games that have come out before, and we'll kind of mention some of those. And then, of course, later on in the year, basically from now to the end of the year, the 5 games I'm buying in 2020, and the games that I'm very excited about moving forward here as we get closer and closer. And then also, guys, giving you guys some honorable mentions, because some of these, some of the games that I'm going to put in the honorable mentions haven't actually gotten official release dates yet, but they're supposed to be coming out this year. So that's a whole nother discussion for another day. But I want to know from you guys as well is, what games are you guys buying in 2020, or at least later in 2020 after, July to the end of the year? What are you guys going to be buying? Let me know in the comment section below, and let's get into this thing. So at number 1, guys, I am going to be buying Cyberpunk 2077, obviously, guys, this is one of my most anticipated games of the year. I've stated this on the YouTube channel. This was up there with The Last of Us, which The Last of Us Part 2, guys, would be on this list. However, it already passed, okay? It already came out, right? But Cyberpunk 2077 was up there with The Last of Us Part 2, my two pretty much most anticipated games of the entire year. Very excited about it. And Cyberpunk, guys, there's still a lot of mystery, obviously, to this title, even though, I mean, it looks incredible. It just looks incredible. I mean, guys, CD Projekt Red, these are the guys who, of course, did the Witcher games. I think that we are going to be getting something special out of this game, and they're going to be adding after launch multiplayer modes and things of that nature. So overall, I'm very excited about this. I feel that this is going to be a full package deal. This is going to be something that you buy and you'll be able to play it consistently over time, guys, whether that means from the campaign perspective, multiplayer perspective. You'll just have multiple ways that you're able to connect with it. Coming in at number 2, guys, for me, is Marvel's Avengers. Now, obviously, guys, I've always, growing up, I've always been a DC fan. I like the DC comics more than Marvel, and I like the DC characters more. But when the movies started coming out, I loved the DC movies, obviously, Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy that came out. I thought that was incredible. But Marvel has had this plan, this long-standing, plan throughout, leading us up to like Endgame, and then even furthermore throughout the course of time here. And so I've really grown to love the Marvel characters and the Avengers in particular. Something really special about those movies, guys, and especially with Endgame. Endgame was absolutely incredible. I still say to this day it was the greatest comic book movie ever made, in my personal opinion. I thought Endgame was that good. It was so well done, and I think it'll go down in film history as one of the greatest ever made from a comic book perspective. But with that, Marvel's Avengers, guys, I'm very excited about this title. I love the concept that you're going to be able to kind of helm these characters. It's more than just watching them on the big screen, which is incredible, but now you get to be them. And, I think that's something that's going to be really interesting. Obviously, we're going to be finding out more information as we get closer to the release, guys, but it just, the concept of it is really, really intriguing to me. And I kind of compare it, and I kind of think in the back of my mind to Marvel's Spider-Man game that came out, and then obviously the second one that's going to be coming out as well. But just the elements of that game and just how bright, colorful, and all the different things that you could do within that universe, I feel like now that should be even elevated even more with something like Marvel's Avengers, because of all these different characters. And I think this is going to be a game that's going to have multiple playthroughs, because you can play as different characters and such, which I think is going to be really interesting. So that's definitely at number 2, guys. Coming in at number 3 for me, guys, is Madden NFL 21. Now, look, I always kind of, when it comes to different games out there, guys, I love sports games. And what I will say is Madden is my favorite of all of them. Now NBA 2K takes a very close second, but I think I just grew up pretty much with Madden. I started with Madden NFL 08, and I really enjoyed that game. I mean, I thought it was just, that was the first sports game that I really got into. And ever since then, guys, I've just played the Madden games every single year. Every year that they come out, I always get them, guys. They're just a lot of fun to me. And I like being able to see the new plays that are added. And, I feel like EA could do a better job with the crowd and such, with the crowd graphics and other things like that, like the graphics, the players that are standing on the, on the sidelines, and the coaches and such. But overall, though, for what the game is, from a perspective of playing the game, it's a lot of fun. I mean, the graphics are getting, graphically, it's getting better. When we talk about just, the complexity of it, I love watching even the pros play. These esports pros who play Madden for a living are absolutely incredible, and it's almost inspiring to watch them play and how they're audibling and doing all of these different things between each and every single play, and it's just incredible. And so I love playing Madden, guys, not only from just a perspective of playing online, playing, the Madden Ultimate Team, but also doing it from just playing by myself, doing franchise mode and taking my team all the way every single year and doing it, a number of times throughout the course of that game's lifespan until the next one comes out the following year. So Madden NFL 21 absolutely is on this list. Coming in at number 4 for me, guys, is Star Wars Squadrons. Now, look, guys, coming off for me, the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I thought was a great game overall. Very buggy. I didn't like the bugs. I did not like that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order did not have multiplayer elements to it. I thought that multiplayer could have been absolutely awesome for that title. But here we are with Star Wars Squadrons, almost like a flight simulator type of game, right? And with multiplayer elements, with a story, this is kind of like the full package that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order should have been, in my opinion. Now, typically speaking, I'm not a huge fan of flight simulator games because I'm just not very good at them. Look, guys, as a player and someone who just loves playing games, right? There's games that we know and that we're good at, right? That you're almost like given like a God-given ability to playing them. But then there's others that you're just not that good at. And flight simulator games, I'm just not good at. I'm hoping that Star Wars Squadrons kind of changes and shifts that for me, because what I've seen of this game is incredible from a graphics perspective. From flying around in the galaxy far, far away is something very... something that I've wanted to do now, absolutely, within a video game. And so I'm really excited about it. I hope that it hits on all the levels that I want it to, and I believe that it absolutely will. So Star Wars Squadrons, it had to make the list, guys, and I'm excited, to say the least. And then coming in, guys, rounding it out with number 5, a recently announced game, Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. And this was more so recently announced as far as the release date is concerned, but even just, officially announced by Activision. Crash Bandicoot, guys, really has elements of being, incredibly difficult. There's like difficult elements to it. There's just an addictiveness to this game that really gets you coming back, trying to beat those really hard, grindy levels and such. And there's something about it that's just really fun, just to kind of like sit back and buckle in, because there's going to be times where it's just a ton of fun, and there's going to be times where it's a grind and you're trying to like get past certain levels, and that's where you get into it and you throw your controller on the ground or at the screen, or you just have a lot of self-control and you just keep going until you beat it. That's one thing with Crash Bandicoot that really excites me, guys, about the continuation here. I've been kind of waiting for it ever since like the remaster, or the remaster that came out by Activision for Crash Bandicoot. And I'm excited to see like the continuation here and see really where they're going with this. I mean, obviously it's a game that's kind of tested the span of time. I mean, Crash Bandicoot's been around for a long time, and I'm excited to see where this thing goes into Crash Bandicoot 4. So that rounds out my top 5 games I'm buying in 2020, guys. Some honorable mentions. We do know that Call of Duty 2020 is coming out, which I'm very excited about, but we haven't seen anything on it. We don't know where it's set. We believe it's in the Cold War era. We believe it's a Black Ops reboot or Black Ops 5. But all in all, guys, I couldn't put it on there because it didn't even have an official release date yet. But obviously, guys, you know that Call of Duty is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I believe it's one of the greatest shooters ever made. And, I'm very excited about it, and I will be more excited when they actually have a release date and a title and we know what it's all about. Another honorable mention, guys, I already kind of alluded to this earlier with Madden, was NBA 2K. I'm really excited about NBA 2K21, guys. I'm excited about this title. Nonetheless, Zion Williamson looks like he's going to get, the front cover. Hopefully Kobe Bryant gets on the Legend edition of NBA 2K21. I'm excited to see the continuation here of that franchise. See where the story mode goes, because the story mode I'm hoping continues. And look, I'm excited about NBA 2K. I really am. Right under Madden. And also that leads me to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is another one, guys, that we don't have a release date yet for. We're hoping it comes out this year. Maybe it'll be delayed once again because of the pandemic going on. Who knows? But Assassin's Creed Valhalla, guys, the continuation. Let's hope that they go back to what made Assassin's Creed so great, that being stealth over action. Let's hope that they do that with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And that leads me to a couple of games, guys, that are getting some buzz, but not quite, not a significant amount, is Godfall and Biomutant. Both of these games, guys, a lot of, question marks around them, especially around the release date. Obviously, it looks like Godfall is going to be a launch title with the PlayStation 5, but it's hard to say, if that's 100% confirmed. I'm not sure. And obviously, we'll have to kind of wait and see, but they're kind of keeping a lot of these things under wraps, and same thing with Biomutant. It's one of those games that kind of under wraps right now. I'm really excited about it. I have a feeling, though, it might actually be pushed into 2021, so that's why I didn't put that on my top 5 list. And that leads me to 2 games that I'm very excited about, which I really hope come out this year. Number 1 is Halo Infinite, which apparently is going to be a launch title for the Xbox Series X. So Halo Infinite, I'm very excited about as well, guys. I think this is the game that 343 Industries can get it right. They had one game that was kind of a step in the wrong direction for the franchise, but I felt that they kind of now have their feet wet. They only had one game here to try to kind of continue this franchise, and they, took some chances with it, and it just didn't work out overall. However, now with Halo Infinite, they got that opportunity. They know what they did right, what they did wrong, and what they can do different moving forward. So fingers crossed, Halo Infinite. Hopefully it's awesome. That leads me to the last one, guys, on my honorable mentions list is Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is a game, the continuation follow-up to Marvel's Spider-Man, which I absolutely loved that game. I can't wait to play as Miles. I love the direction they're taking a chance here, that being Insomniac Games, with, kind of changing the character now to Miles. I love it. I can't wait to play as this character. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. I don't know much about Miles, but I can't wait to learn more about him. I just can't, and being able to kind of helm this character, or just, Spider-Man, through the lens and through, a new character that I haven't really experienced much with, because I'm not really familiar with the Spider-Man comics and such, other than outside of like the movies. I'm very excited, guys, about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Can't wait, guys. I hope it comes out this year. Maybe it'll come out next year. It's hard to say, but that rounds out my honorable mentions. But, guys, these were the top 5 games I'm buying in 2020. What are the top 5 games, or what are the games, whether it's 5 or 10 or 20 or a couple, that you are definitely buying this year? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more top 5s, content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.